So you want to sell your home on your own and you don't need a realtor? Guess what? You can do that. But be aware of contingencies in your sales contract. What are sales contingencies? Let me tell you. Well, hey, I'm Nakia from Pink Sands Group. So what are sales contingencies? These pesky little things that can affect the time frame of the closing of your home. So what happens, sales contingencies, they're really conditions of the sales contract. So there are conditions that are usually agreed upon during the offer process and the negotiations before you guys sign your contract. So some of your common contingencies that you tend to see or conditions will be due diligence period or inspection period contingency. You also see sometimes the finance contingency and the appraisal contingency. Those are the most common that we tend to see, but also another one, look out for if your buyer has a home to sell. That's another contingency as well. So be mindful when you're doing your negotiation on the contingencies. So like, what are the time frames? So it can vary. So let's start with due diligence. So due diligence period, basically the buyers have time to do their due diligence on the property to make sure that, you know what, this is the home that I truly want. So that can range from 3 days, and I've seen it all the way to 10 days. I've seen a lot of investors do a 10-day and you get an investor offer. We see that a lot. Some buyers that are not investors do a 10-day as well. What it does, it allows them time to conduct their home inspection, for you guys to agree upon any repairs that you may want to negotiate. And guess what? For them to walk away and say, you know what? I don't think I want this house. What are some reasons that they will walk away and do that? You never know. It can vary. They may ride by the neighborhood and decide, you know what? I don't want to live out here anymore. Or they may say, the sky is blue today and I don't want this house. Or somebody didn't like the house and convinced them that this wasn't the one for them. Anything can happen. So they do have the time to do their inspections, do their due diligence, or just flat out change their mind. That's the due diligence and inspection period that you commonly see. So next you have the finance contingency. So the finance contingency, that is typically where the buyer is waiting for what's known as their conditional loan approval. So when you get a buyer, you typically have a pre-approval letter or pre-qual. Me, I prefer a pre-approval for any of my clients, but do what you do. But a pre-approval, we can talk about the difference between the two in another video. But that's for the time they've gotten their pre-approval from the lender, but they haven't gotten conditional approval. So conditional approval is where they're going to go through all of their documents and everything. The underwriter's going to look at it through a fine-tooth comb, and they'll come back and say, hey, Mr. Buyer, you are conditionally approved for this loan with these conditions. So they'll get a list of their conditions. Some conditions may be they're waiting on the appraisal. One may be, they may need an updated bank statement. One may be, we need your taxes from, a year ago, whatever the underwriter has requested, and it could be a variety of things. And this is pretty common in the process. So time frames that we tend to see a lot for finance contingencies, we've seen a variety. So usually you may see a 14-day finance contingency. You may even see a 21-day finance contingency. Now, when it's a hot seller's market, we were seeing 5-day finance contingencies, 3 days, sometimes 0. But guess what? You seller, do your due diligence. Reach out. Well, what we do with our clients, we actually reach out to the lenders and we have a conversation with them about the date for the finance contingency. Can you guys meet this date? Is this date doable? Because sometimes the agent that presents the offer, they may not have consulted with the lender before they negotiate with you for the finance contingency. So you always want to do your due diligence to check to see, can these timelines be met, and whatnot. So do your due diligence as well as the seller. So we do that for our buyers. We always call the lender and reach out to find out, about these timelines, because guess what? Nobody wants surprises unless you get some free money. Expect to be anywhere between 14 to 21 days for the finance contingency. Now you also have the appraisal contingency. It depends on the loan type of how that works, but we'll just talk about one that we see often, say a conventional loan. So there'll be a date in the contract for the appraisal contingency, meaning that the appraisal has to happen by a certain time frame, and there's a certain time frame for all parties to respond if it comes in low. That can vary as well. The appraisal contingency, well, it tends to kind of be a similar time frame as the finance contingency. It can vary, but more often than not, it's going to be similar to that. If it's 21 days, the appraisal will probably be 21 days. So those are your main 3. But also, like I said, be aware if that buyer has a home to sell. That's another contingency. That's a whole nother ball game. So imagine if you accepted a contract where the buyer had a home to sell, and that was a contingency of the contract. And then they actually got their home under contract, and the buyer for that home had a home to sell. Wow, crazy, right? So always be mindful, ask lots of questions, talk to your realtor. But wait, you might not have a realtor, you may do it on your own. So keep watching these videos so you will know the things to look out for if you're trying to sell your home by yourself. Happy shopping!